Hi, it's Joy, and today we're watching Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 8, Into Oblivion. Very excited for this episode to get back into this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 1 month in advance, and let's go. Seeing it from her side.
Your anomaly, moving through our galaxy, is compromising the integrity of our dimension.
Jesus. God, so their entire universe is being destroyed as well?
It's fine.
Please awake.
It might be a scar, though.
All I want to do is spend time with my two girls, you know.
Awkward.
Dad.
Oh no. His memory's messed up a bit.
Get another brain scan, just to be safe.
I'll put it in order.
It is better to be safe, but it's also you don't have to jump to worst case scenario.
Discharged.
You don't know that.
You don't, but she's angry in general and taking it out on you.
You know, if you need another opinion or something,
No, I'm good.
She knows you're there if she wants you, needs you.
Good, I'm starving.
She has forgiven him very quickly. And again, it's just one daughter he's taking out. It's not his other daughter. Poor Sophie.
Whose drugs were those?
You can work it out,
I
guys.
can't tell you.
Also, I feel like this is a time when, as a parent, you could look at his phone.
No, Dad. I don't understand.
He thinks he's protecting. That's what he thinks, he's protecting her, but in the long run, he's not.
Why are you doing this? Just leave it alone.
Look, you need to tell the truth here. Like, at the very least, you need to explain to your parents the situation she's in and let them help her. She made the choice. You should pay, like, Jonathan should have the punishment for his role, but not all of it.
It's how you become the best version of yourself. By merging with your shadow self.
That was just a random other universe. It's not shadow self.
Did he give you any instructions?
How long is that going to be like this?
I'm guessing till you tell us where you got those drugs. Jordan, let's go.
Why does it even matter? He can barely look at me. It's like he hates me.
He will always love
He
you.
doesn't hate you. He's just having a hard time understanding your behavior. Both of us are.
Absolutely.
Give me your phone.
This just, I mean, obviously we know Chrissy is going, like, undercover for the story and to find out the truth. But anybody else doing this, it's just so fucking shady.
I mean, it's only been a week since the quinceañera, but I can tell that he's trying, and that means
I
something.
mean, yeah, what he did was more affecting your mum than
Somebody want to
you.
talk to me about?
That's why I had dinner with Aubrey.
Okay, she's immediately telling him she saw her. That's good.
I want Aubrey in my life, especially now with everything that's going on with my parents.
Yeah, but it's a little weird.
I know, which is why
It is
we should all
weird.
hang out.
I understand
Get rid
both
of that
points
weirdness.
here.
She's really great.
Who could be the drug dealer now?
Sorry, let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He just agreed to something he does
I'll
not want to
message
do.
Aubrey right now.
Alright.
Just bring me that money today.
You have ruined my brother's life.
Yeah, you okay?
She needs help from somebody. Like, face whatever punishment she'd face and help.
Still off the grid. You've been cleared of all charges. Formally back in the DOD's good graces.
Are they back in our good graces?
Wish it had worked out differently.
Sorry.
Are you sorry? Because that was unnecessary.
It's time. It's time!
Anyone who is here not investigating needs help.
I'm tired of feeling incomplete.
I finally see the way through.
These sound like goodbyes.
We gotta find her.
I still think he has done a really shit job of looking out for Lucy in this entire situation. Like, if I find out about my channel, obviously, adults are allowed to make their own decisions. He can't, like, force her to not be part of this cult. But he basically seemed like he just tried one time to get her to come over to hang out with the family, and that didn't work. And he was just like, guess she's with the cult now, instead of actually helping.
Lucy could be with Chrissy and Allie?
The DOD has a security team there. Let me make a call.
Well, potentially not anymore. They don't have a security team there. At least not a conscious one. You are crazy. Like, Chrissy, this is the time when you just back off. Like, why would it be merging with your other self? It's just a parallel universe, you weirdos. And I maintain other Joy is better off without this Joy. Chrissy? Oh god, is Chrissy a believer?
This isn't supposed to be happening.
The team at the mines isn't responding.
What did she think was going to happen? One. Why did you trust Anderson, you weirdo? So you need the pendant to safely go through? What happened to Lucy?
We're the only ones that you saved.
He didn't get here in time. How could he have saved anybody else? It's freaking lucky he saved you three.
Emergency. It's totally fine, Clark. It's fine.
Yeah, the complete stranger who drove us here was super nice.
Like, I told you I would be there and I wasn't.
I mean, yeah, he let you down and probably should have texted or something while he was flying, but you miss little stroppy teenagers saying that you'd rather those 3 people were dead, but you got a lift home with someone you knew. I know she's angry with him, but I feel like her anger is actually at her father and she just doesn't want to put it there because that's much scarier than putting it on him.
You look exactly like the guy who killed my mom. And I'm supposed to what, just ignore that and live with you?
No.
That is the downside of coming
He's not
here.
the same guy.
Then why do I worry all the time that when he's around you, you're gonna end up just like mom?
That is because of the choices your father is making. But I do understand why she's upset.
Jordan, she's doing it to help out her dad because he's broke. Okay, it's just the 2 of them, and if they get kicked out, they'll literally have
They
nowhere to
need
go.
help. I agree
Care
with
about
that.
her that much? What, like, you're the only one that can do something sketch to help their girlfriend? I guess you're right.
It's just
They're
so
one of the most
wrong that, like,
underpaid
there's no
efforts.
help for that
Sad.
family other than the daughter feeling the need to turn to being a drug dealer. Like, it's messed up.
Are you asking as an officer? Or as a
Both, you bitch.
Okay.
like a father? Although we both know how you have struggled to live up to that title.
I
She's not
need
wrong.
names.
He shouldn't be the one. I know he's like, I know that he wants to be in there because he wants to find out about Lucy and everything, but he should not be in there talking to her because she can get straight under his skin. They have such a personal connection. It should be literally anybody else.
Afraid your girls are gonna leave you the same way your wife left.
Answer the question.
He shouldn't. Why did anybody let this man in there? I know he outranks everybody here, but why on earth did anybody let him in the room with her? Your glorious plan has gone to shit. Your pendant's gone and you're smiling? Okay.
We're right this whole time. Allie was a cancer, but I was too damn scared Lucy would cut me out. I never pushed back.
I mean,
This was Lucy's
it
choice.
was. The mistakes you made
She's
with
dead,
Lucy, the
Lois.
biggest ones, the most impactful ones, whether she's alive or dead, they were when she was a lot younger than she is now. But I also do think you didn't do anything to try and save her now.
Because I failed her.
It's her own choices. You didn't help save her, but
Now I have to live with it the rest of my life.
we don't know that she went through. She could just be
So what would
having
you
a
say to
party.
people wondering how you'll...
Say my personal life is none of their business.
That's,
Well, that's not really an answer, Lana.
Well, it's
it
not really a
shouldn't
question.
matter, but it
It's
does.
a judgment from how you respond to it in the face of a crisis. Is it with honesty and integrity? Because it's what I've tried to do in my personal life and what I promise to do as mayor
Well
of
done,
Smallville.
Lana.
You had good reason not to be there.
Sure, but look,
It's bigger than just one miss
doesn't
lift.
change the fact that you don't think it's too late.
From my experience, most people want to forgive. You're a good
It's not a
person.
great deal for her to
Find the way to show
forgive
it.
him for. Like, the miss lift, yeah, but I also feel like if Superman wasn't someone that looked identical to the person that killed her mother in her own world, I think she would have forgiven him already for that because he was saving lives. Like, you can't really ask for forgiveness for that other person because it wasn't you, but also the thing they did is something so big you can't really forgive. In general, I'm still so torn over the idea of whether or not it's actually good for Natalie to be here. Like, it's having a piece of her mother around, yes, but it's also just rubbing in her face every day that that's not her mother. That woman has no memories with her. That memory does not remember being pregnant with her, giving birth to her, her first steps. She remembers somebody else's version of all of those things, but not hers. And all seeing her cuddling up and kissing with the man that killed her in her world. Like, I honestly think Natalie and John Henry would have been better off moving to a different city that they had no past ties to in their world. But I'm glad the characters are around. They are interesting additions to the show. But yeah, I don't think this is the best place for her. Maybe it will be in the long run, but I think she needs to heal. I mean, heal as far as you ever can and deal with her mother's death. Like, that is something that, knowing this Lois, it's like knowing a twin sibling who's like if a parent has a twin sister that you never knew about, essentially, is who this Lois is. You know, they might be really, really similar to your mum, but they're just not your mum. And it can maybe ease the pain a little bit to be near someone that reminds you of them, but at the same time, you're still grieving that person. And like, I basically, I don't think the argument of coming here made as much sense as the argument to not.
Lois,
There is no way that Lucy would go to another world and only send a text.
there's nothing else
I mean, with
here.
Lucy, that does sound quite
I
like,
checked.
but I'm sure she's not
She
dead.
can't just leave.
How could you just disappear like that?
She's quite a selfish person, a
Why are
hurt
they
person, but a
leaving me?
selfish.
I'm here.
You shouldn't have to worry about some dumb hillbilly too.
Candace, I understand, but he threatened to hurt you if you didn't pay him.
Wait, your brother heard that?
I do feel a little bit sorry for Jonathan in the sense that he has to do like a full day shift and then do all of his schoolwork, but I suppose
Not to worry, okay?
don't do the crime if you can't do the
Can I at least walk you there?
time.
Okay. This is why I love you. Even when things are bad, you make me laugh.
Why does a car come straight in the middle of the road towards them?
She's not going anywhere.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Oh god. Your brother needs you, and I know that it will look to Sarah like you stood up on this thing, but this thing is very awkward and you have a right to. Family emergency. Call your parents as well.
Hey, hey!
Oh, sweetheart.
Now you're dead.
Like, Jordan, while you run, call your dad. I'm sure you don't want to get him in trouble. This is past that. You need to get your parents involved in this. Because Candace could easily figure out who he is. That man could get a good look at his face. Or die. Though he's not, I mean, he's not exactly a nice man. Okay, boys, you do still need to tell your parents about this.
Gotta meet up with Sarah. Jordan. Thanks.
Yeah. Little babies.
What's this?
An old friend of mine's had a place for rent for a while. I thought maybe you and your dad could check it out.
So this would be like our own place?
They do deserve their own place.
And then
Oh.
Something probably came up.
It's a hard life you're living, little baby.
Allie said about there being a hole inside of me. She's
It's
right.
life, unfortunately.
I'm just being honest, Lois.
You're very lucky if you go
Glad I
through
came
life
home when your
without
mother was
anything
gone.
like that
I've
happening
never
to
been
you.
the same since.
Lucy?
Lucy.
She really irritates me.
Kept hearing I had to walk until that lady picked me up.
Well, you're safe now.
I'm scared that she's not genuine, that she's still working, that this is all part of some wider plan, and that she's here to burrow in on with them. You know, it would make logical freaking sense if she was like, wait, when my sister said this cult's going to get me killed, that this appears to be something that would get me killed. You know, I'd love this to be genuine, but I also think we can't fully trust her after everything she's done so far.
Actually, I'm pretty wiped. Dad, do you mind if
Oh,
I-
she is here for an ulterior
I'll take you home.
motive.
Come on.
I want this for them so badly, for them to get to have Lucy back. I just don't trust it.
Will you ever forgive your husband?
How dare you ask that? Fuck off.
Kyle,
Yeah,
Sorry, genuinely, like, you don't get to ask that to her. You can ask that, do you think she'll forgive me? You can say to maybe to someone, if this was the situation you were in, would you be able to? But you don't get to ask her that, because it's like you're trying to guilt her into saying yes. And I will also say that I don't think he's doing it to be malicious, but I think, like, this is a situation where, as the party that was in the wrong, you don't get to be selfish. You have to put the other person first. And if she can't ever forgive you, that is her right. I do think she probably will be able to, given the circumstances around everything, how their marriage was in such a low place and they had been building it up into something really lovely again. But at the same time, if she doesn't forgive him, I will be standing by her side cheering her on the entire time. And honestly, him asking me that question, I would be like, we were having a really nice time, like you were helping me, like this could have been something that would be the beginning of me forgiving you, but now you've made it seem like you were only being nice to me. Like, that's not how you handle things.
I'm actually not living there anymore. I got my own place.
Good.
Wow.
Makes it seem very, very real for her, doesn't it? But
We can talk about it
That
if
was
you...
the right
it
thing.
is. Part of him was really
for
hoping
helping
she was
me.
going to turn around and say, come home.
They may not be able to survive the trip.
She did it anyway. I mean, I will say it's very lovely how much she was willing to go through to be with her dad and to find her dad, but I'm pretty sure the rest of her universe did get destroyed, so she could go back anyway.
Because Clark said that.
Everything we need is right here.
Okay.
Exactly, she's got a dad.
I'll let Clark know.
I just hope he's okay.
Glad she got out when she did.
Yeah, me too. And that we can finally
Oh,
close the
we
chapter on
can't.
Allie Allison.
Of course, they all think Anderson's dead, don't they? So as far as they're concerned, what Allie was doing didn't work, nothing happened, and it's all over. But obviously, we as the viewer know Anderson had the pendant, he's gone through, other Allie has both pendants. Though we don't know where the pendants are, surely that's bothering him.
Allie didn't have the pendant.
Mm-hmm.
Then who does?
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad too, but trust
It
me,
is
do
so
not let this go on
hard
for
to
too
find the
long.
balance,
Okay.
isn't there? I mean, I suppose out of the two of them, if one child has to get, like, not at school and not have that, and maybe have it on his record that he got expelled or whatever for future reference, he's got kind of more money in his family, even if from what I've gathered, Lois and Clark spent most of the money buying the farm. But, like, you know, he's kind of got like a very big supportive family, whereas Candace doesn't seem to have that. I guess she and her dad love each other, but they don't have much means behind everything. So I guess, like, in a purely kind of just pragmatic way of looking at it, I suppose Jonathan will think, well, I'll be all right if this all goes away, whereas she won't. But at the same time, it's throwing your entire life away at 15. I mean, okay, it's not throwing your entire life away. You can have a life, but throwing many, many options out the window of a life you could have at 15.
Come on, we're the fraternals, remember?
I know
Oh,
you love this apartment. I have fresh
Did
ice
she just
cream.
drug him?
You put something in my tea.
Oh, Lord. Well, I knew this was too good to be true and we couldn't trust her.
Yeah,
She's so
sorry. I
annoying.
was sort of the failsafe in case things didn't go according
Like,
to plan.
she is completely lost.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, at this point, if the ideal ending for us for Allie is like her being in prison, Lucy should be in the cell next door, probably different prisons. But Lucy should also go to prison right now. Lucy is making these choices willfully. You know, people died today because of Allie. And Lucy's like, gotta drug my dad, Like, it's just, she's such a frustrating character. You know, it's one thing to be troubled, it's one thing to be vulnerable, taken advantage of, and I do think that's what she was. But I think Lucy is step by step crossing the line from victim taken advantage of into person taking advantage of others and becoming the perpetrator. Like, I don't like her. I haven't particularly enjoyed her at all. I mean, which is nothing against the actress. I do really like the actress. I think it's just the character. It's the character and the choices she's making. Like, are just terrible choices, and it doesn't matter what your backstory is. Like, everyone keeps acting like Lois abandoned her, Lois betrayed her, because Lois tried to save her from the cult that was brainwashing her into becoming some evil, suicidal, murdering lady. Like, or at least okay with killing people, because people have died. Like, you know, it kind of... I still don't think what Lois did was that big a deal. Now, I could see it being a big deal in the sense of journalistic integrity to a point, and also I can understand why Lucy would be upset by it, but ultimately she just didn't put in the article the deranged person believed they could die and go to a different planet, which is, they can do, but it's just, you know what I mean, like, just Lucy's just annoying. And if we're supposed to feel any sympathy towards her, they have done a very bad job, because maybe to begin with I did, but at this point I'm like, fuck you, Lucy. Now again, I don't. General Lane is annoying. I think he is trying, I will give him that. And I did actually feel for him when he said, like, I didn't push her on this cult stuff because I didn't want to lose her. Like, Lois pushing on the cult stuff meant Lucy no longer wanted anything to do with Lois. So he was obviously concerned that if he pushed on the cult stuff, the same thing would happen. But at the end of the day, you can't just watch someone you love do something like that and not try and stop them. Because it kind of just means you're enabling them rather than stopping them. And yeah, maybe the end game is that they cut you out of their life, but that is their choice. And if two members of their family, the only two members of their family, have the same stance, surely that would maybe start ringing a bell. Though Lucy seems to be completely stupid, so maybe not. I'm feeling harsh, I'm sorry, just Lucy irritates me. I think it's partly it started when she acted like Lois had made up everything she put in the article, when in reality Lois found her overdosing on pills, which is apparently not the right way to do it, because she didn't have the pendant, and like dying, and then wrote an article about it, and then, you know, with her consent to write about that part, but then she didn't mention that she was doing it to try and ascend, so therefore she was an evil scheming bitch. Like, it just irritates me. Now, other characters who I'm frustrated with, but in a much more loving kind of, oh, you're teenagers, why? way, are the boys. Tell your parents about Candace, children. I completely understand why, and like, I do think, you know, from a pragmatic point of view, whatever happens will probably fall easier on Jonathan's shoulders than it would on Candace's. Jonathan has a much bigger network backing him up, his parents have more money, at the very least more connections, and he has a big family backing him up, whereas from what they've talked about, she kind of has her dad, and they don't seem like, it seems like her dad's potentially not able to work, or at least can't do a very well paying job. Now there should be more in place to help people, that no child should be like, I should sell drugs to support my family. Now obviously if she was selling drugs to be able to buy herself expensive things, I'd be like, it's a bit stupid, but you know, you do feel a bit bad for her. But at the same time, no one is being helped by you keeping this a secret, because her family is just as in need as they were yesterday. She's not going to continue selling drugs, so her whole thing of like, oh, if we get kicked out of our house, then we won't have anything, is going to happen now anyway, because if she continues selling drugs, she's a moron who doesn't respect Jonathan's sacrifice in the slightest. And you know, if Jordan wasn't paying as much attention, Jordan is clearly like fine-tuned to his brother's being concerned, because like, I'm pretty sure, because we heard the like beep 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 that you hear when they press the button, but no one pressed the button because Clark didn't hear it. It was purely just he was listening out for his brother being in trouble. I guess he kind of tunes everything out, but then his brother being in trouble is something that spikes through his consciousness. But if he had just been in the middle of the thing with Sarah and not paying attention, completely not paying attention, turn that off, Jonathan would most likely be dead right now from that man. Whether he intended to kill him, I know he was saying, you're dead now. Now, I think that was probably just being threatening, like he would have tried to just beat him up. But on that ex-kryptonite, any single blow that landed could have killed him. Because with ordinary strength, one punch can kill. So, like, he could have died, Candace could have died. Like, keeping this a secret was helping nobody. And in the long run, keeping it a secret isn't going to help Candace, because nobody's going to help her in her situation that she is in. She's still going to continue to be spiraling or whatever, and his own future is being irreparably damaged. Now, I know that going to a good college or whatever is not the be-all and end-all of life. You can have a perfectly happy life without that, but Jonathan wanted to play football. He wanted to try and get a football scholarship. Like, that was who he is. And again, I also think you can be more than just being an athlete at school. Doesn't mean it's going to be everything for forever, but that is a huge, like, that was such a huge part of his identity that he was trying to get back. Yes, it would be nice to see him figure out who he is without that, but it's just really sad to see him throw this all away. And, you know, it was nice to see Candace was at least a little bit thankful in this episode. Like, it's really hard to see a kid making such dumb choices that are dumb for him and for Candace, because that guy could come back, that guy could recognize Jordan walking down the street. I know in these shows people tend to have face blindness when it comes to superheroes, and I also know in reality, like, witness statements, they're really unreliable, but that guy could so easily remember Jordan. He could see the boys together one day and be like, that brother looks an awful lot like that kid that beat me up. Like, yes, he was scared, but it just is not going to go well. I just think it's spiraling, and it's also losing him his parents' trust, because it's one thing that he made this dumb decision, but he's continuing to keep secrets and hide from them. and they do not know why he's doing it. And to be honest, if you told them why you were doing it, I think their entire perspective on it would shift. They would still be upset with him. They would still be disappointed that he took the drugs. They definitely would not want him to date Candace anymore. But they would also look at him and be like, you were just trying to protect somebody. That is actually really sweet. But, you know, it's a little bit misguided right now. It's just, as far as they're aware, he is just has no good reason for doing it, and he's just being surly and not telling them. And who is this boy? It's not the boy we raised. It is hard to figure out how strict to be, because obviously this isn't a small infraction. It's not like Jonathan missed curfew by 10 minutes. Like, this is a very big deal. Taking the drugs in the first place, it's a huge deal. So as a parent, trying to figure out how strict to be, how understanding to be, because you don't want to alienate your child forever and lose every, like, that will just push him down a much worse spiral. It's just such a delicate balance to do, and they're doing a really good job of kind of showing them struggling with that, but also how much love is involved. I think I said in a previous episode, I really hope this show is able to kind of, any kids watching who maybe argue with their parents who really do love them, could maybe see that parents don't always know how to do it, and they're doing their best, and they do care about you. Now I hope Sarah's not too upset with Jordan for not showing it. Yeah, he kind of stood her up, but I hope he at least texted and said he wasn't feeling well, or something came up, or like, I'm sorry I couldn't do it, it was too weird, because I understand that Aubrey is incredibly important to her. They became very close. She's one of her best friends and everything. I do understand that. And as long as Sarah is confident that she's not going to do it, it's not going to develop into romance or anything, then fair enough. Like, but it's also okay if Jordan doesn't want to meet her, especially not right now. There's no reason why they should be forced together to be in group situations all the time. You can have friends that don't mishmash. Now, obviously, in the long run, if Jordan and Sarah were going to be together forever, that would need to change. But as things stand right now, there's no need for him to be like, hey, so you kissed my girlfriend and you knew she had a boyfriend. You're both a bit annoying. My big fear with this plotline is that it's going to become a thing where Sarah falls for Aubrey and cheats on Jonathan some more. The biggest fear is that she then tries to be like, I understand my dad, because that would just be the worst writing ever. But again, she could realize that she likes Aubrey more than she likes Jordan and break up with him. That would be incredibly crushing for Jordan, but it would also be, as long as she didn't do anything else with Aubrey, I wouldn't hate her for it, especially given her age. But like, I'm just really worried with where they're going to take this plotline. It's quite a big ask to ask your boyfriend, your significant other, to hang out with you and the person you sort of cheated on them with. But I think she did a good job of explaining the why. I do really like that she immediately told him she met up with Aubrey, that she didn't try and like keep the friendship a secret. Like, that kind of thing gives me a lot of hope. Again, my main fear is that they're going to do something that kind of goes against the Sarah we got to know as a character over the last season and a half. Like, I think the Sarah I know wouldn't do anything else to cheat on Jordan, but I'm scared they're gonna just think, fuck it, drama. Then the adult Cushings. Kyle, I think they're doing it quite realistically. They're doing it because, you know, Kyle isn't a demon man. He did something terrible, a stupid mistake. He is paying the price for it now, but unfortunately so is Lana, both emotionally and from the outside world. I think him being there for his kids, them sort of struggling with it, not that we ever see him talk to Sophie, but him being sort of there, still there with the kids, Sarah trying to figure out how far she forgives him, what kind of relationship she wants and everything. As long as he is there and a good father, I think she'll be able to get through that. But Lana has no obligation to forgive him. You know, like, it's just, what he did was so monumentally terrible, and he kept it a secret, even when their marriage was on the rocks and they brought it back from the brink. He could have been like, in all honesty, I did do this thing, but, you know, we weren't happy, and I know now that that's the last thing I should have done. I should have talked to you about it, but I was stupid and weak. But, like, him kind of just showing up and being like, is this how it's going to be? Or, like, kind of, will you ever forgive your husband? Fuck off. Like, literally fuck off. You don't get to ask her that. Like, if that was me, I would be like, well, you know what? I was considering it. Now, back to square one, buddy. Like, him coming over to help her was lovely, especially with the idea that he may be getting nothing out of it. that question immediately had me thinking, like, so were you only doing this to try and earn brownie points to get back in her good graces? Again, I think that's being especially cynical. I don't think that was the only reason he came around. I think he does truly just want to help her, and obviously he does also want her to take him back. He does also want to be with his family. And I'm not trying to say he should cut off those feelings, but he shouldn't push those feelings onto Lana. If she is able to forgive him, she knows he is there, she knows he currently is, you know, wanting to come home and everything. Him taking the short lease rental is very good. It is a good step that he is honouring and respecting Lana and not trying to push her. I do think a small part of him was hoping when he mentioned it, she would be like, okay, you can come home. Whereas I think she was just shocked because it is just so drastically, like him spending the time at the firehouse, like he would spend like 24-hour, 48-hour shifts, he would sleep there anyway. Whereas it having an apartment is such a kind of permanent thing, even if it's a short lease apartment. But regardless, this is going to be the best thing. The only hope they have of getting through this is if he respects her and they're able to keep their distance. She also seemed like she was very well prepared for this debate. I hope she destroys Mayor Dean or whatever his stupid name is. I'm stressed for what Ali and Lucy are planning. When the people started getting sucked into the portal, I think Ali did say something like, this isn't what was supposed to happen, which suggests she didn't think that would happen. And we know Anderson snatched the pendant off of her and went through with it. So that, I'm now wondering, like, is Anderson doing up to his own shenanigans? Is he just in it for himself, which would make sense? Or did the other Ali say, bring me the other pendant, like, you've got to tell my other self to do this, 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 and then you're gonna help me? Because if Ali was versus Ali, that would be quite funny. Very good episode. Lucy's frustrating. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. I'm watching this show. I'm on season 3, episode 8 right now on Patreon when you're watching this on YouTube, and thank you so much for watching.